Top 10 first baseman for the 2025 season. We're going to start this list off with number 10, Michael Toglia. And this is a big shock and a big surprise, but hear me out. His numbers like WAR and OPS plus and WRC plus really are not great. But what do all of those numbers do? Well, they penalize him for playing in Coors Field. Last year, he was in the 90th percentile or higher in hard hit ball rate, expected WOBA, and exit velocity, and he was in the 98th percentile when it came to barrel rate. I know he does strike out a lot, and that's an issue, but when he hits the ball, he hits it harder than anybody else, and I think the numbers suggest that he should take a step forward in 2025. Then at the number 9 spot, we have Vinny Pasquantino. Now he is the opposite of Toglia. He is a very disciplined hitter. His average WRC plus is 116, which is really solid. And so obviously his lack of health in 2024 was a big deal to this team as they rely on him a lot. But when he is on the field, the level of play we get from Vinny Pasquantino is generally really good. And that's what we've come to expect. And that makes him the number 9 first baseman for the 2025 season. And then at the number 8 spot, we have Yandy Diaz, who is now 33 years old. But he still crushes balls incredibly hard and just hits line drives all the time. Projected WAR is 3.6, which is 4th highest among first basemen. And last year would really be considered a down year for him, but he still had a 116 WRC plus, which is really solid. Then you look at his 3-year average for WRC plus, and it's 138, which is actually incredible for a 3-year average, because only Harper and Freeman have higher 3-year averages than that. Personally, I just love his approach. Hard line drives. That's the way to play. But then at the number 7 spot, we have Pete Alonso. Now, Alonso comes in every year between that 120 and 140 WRC plus range, but he really is the master of production, right? Home runs, RBIs. If you like those things, he's your first baseman. But then at the number 6 spot, we have Wilson Contreras, the new first baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals. He had a 136 WRC plus last year, which would have been the 4th highest if he had been playing first base. He's also great when it comes to metrics. His expected WOBA, his average exit velocity, and his hard hit rate are some of the highest among all first basemen. And really, I'm excited to see what he does with an entire year to focus just on offense. But obviously the question for him is, well, what's he going to look like on defense? Because obviously we haven't seen him play defense at first base yet. Luckily, it's not the most important defensive position. Unless you're a guy like Christian Walker. And, well, Christian Walker is our number 5 first baseman going into the 2025 season. And Christian Walker is the elite defensive option for your first baseman. But not only is he the best defensive option at first base, he's also a really good bat too. His production is top of the line. Another guy who's really big when it comes to home runs and RBIs. And you're getting a WRC plus around 120 every year. And also his metrics don't show sign of any change. He barrels everything up. He hits it hard. And that makes him a really solid first base option. But then at the number 4 spot, we have Freddie Freeman, who is the most disciplined hitter in the league. He gets walked and he doesn't really strike out. There's no pitch that he can't hit. And he's always right around that 100 RBI spot when it comes to production. And of course, the advanced stats is really where he takes off, a 143 WRC plus last season. The only downside to Freddie Freeman is a lot of the more advanced analytics are really starting to leave him now. He doesn't hit the ball as hard as he used to, so the exit velocity, the hard hit rate, the barrel percentage, those things are all going down for him. Then at the number 3 spot, we have a guy who does not struggle to hit the ball hard, and that is Matt Olson. Now, 2024 was a down year for him, but otherwise, Olson has been really consistent at first base. Now, yes, he does strike out more than Freeman does, and yes, his WRC plus is also lower than Freeman's. But with Olson, you're going to get more runs, you're going to get more RBIs, you're going to get more home runs. You're also going to get better defense. And his WRC plus was around a 120 this year, and this is the worst we've seen from him offensively. And most of his career, we see him with a WRC plus of 135 and above, which is much more similar to what we see from Freddie Freeman. And I think with a reset and a chance to come back fresh in 2025, we're going to see a much better year for him. But then at the number 2 spot, we have Bryce Harper. And while Harper is new to first base, this being his first full season there, he's already great defensively. And really, there's nothing to complain about with Harper. He's really the only first baseman where you look around the board and he has no weakness. He hits home runs and he gets run production, also excels in the advanced stats such as the exit velocity, the hard hit rate, and then of course the WRC plus and the OPS are going to be great as well every time with him. But then the number 1 spot has to go to Vladdy. He's just 25 years old still, which is insane to think about, that we've already had some seasons as good as he's had at this point in his life. I mean, 25 years old, and I'm already comfortable saying that he's the best hitting first baseman in the league. I mean, to have the same level of power as Pete Alonso, but then to strike out as often as Yandy Diaz, he had the highest OPS plus of any first baseman. And it wasn't particularly close. His expected WOBA and his average exit velocity are both in the 98th percentile, which means he's about the best in the league at hitting the ball both hard and well. And really, when we talk about Vlad Guerrero Jr., we're talking about hitters at the level of Judge and Ohtani at this point. There is still a downside, and that's his defense, which just is still not great. And that's what kind of makes Vlad and Harper close at this point. I just can't overlook the insane level of offense that we're getting from a 25-year-old first baseman here. And so that's why Vladdy is my number one first baseman going into the 2025 season.